What's up guys, Houndish here, and today we're going to jump in and talk about Witch Queen and a few major things which we know about the expansion, yet don't fully know, if that makes any sense. And we have a lot of mysteries surrounding the upcoming content right now. So in the video we're going to touch on teasers from Bungie regarding characters in Year 5, with a possible character death and the return of other key players. Then we'll also touch on the new destination and some of the secrets within, as well as the possibilities for Mars in the expansion, which we know is going to return in some form. But then there's also a Reprise raid to discuss for Year 5, as well as alchemy, future damage types, and much more. Safe to say this video is a bit of a mixed bag, but there are lots of secrets to unpack in Witch Queen. So let us know what you're most excited for below, and be sure to get subscribed to the channel if you want to be kept updated on the launch of the expansion and Year 5. But now let's get into it, and starting out we're going to touch on a possible character death. In fact, it seems quite likely based on what some of the Bungie devs have said, and from a Games Radar article, Austin Wood pointed out the reintroduced spoiler alert sidearm from Season 15. This weapon was first released in Destiny 2 in the season before the Forsaken expansion, with the flavor text, "Someone is going to die." And following that, of course, we saw the death of Kate 6, the Hunter Vanguard, at the start of that expansion. But it was recently reintroduced and updated for Season of the Lost. This certainly made a few players curious, and when Games Radar asked Robbie Stevens from Bungie if it was a coincidence, he simply replied, "It's not a coincidence, that's all I'll say." And so I'd take that as at least a strong hint that we'll see a character death in the expansion. Otherwise, I'm sure Robbie Stevens would have diffused the comment in a different way. But in terms of who this character could be, we know that we'll see involvement from Vanguard members like Ikora, but also Eris, and there's even Osiris who's been under the control of Savathun for a while, but I'm certainly no lore expert, so let us know if you know of any hints as to who the character could be. Once again, I wouldn't quite say confirmed, but the death of a character in Witch Queen is something which has now been strongly teased. Something else very curious about Witch Queen is the role that Mars will play in the expansion. And as well as Savathun's throne world, we've seen Mars in the trailers for Witch Queen. In particular, it was first speculated that Ikora's bounty board would be on Mars. That was based on the images that Bungie showed us, and then they revealed a narrative preview at the Game Awards, which appears to represent the opening of the campaign for the expansion in short. And it begins on Mars, where we've got a kind of Savathun ship suspended in the sky. And there's a keen interest from the Cabal here, who seem to be assaulting the ship. And I think also notable is that this structure seems to be pretty significant in scale, with external and interior sections where we'll first encounter Hive Guardians based on the trailer. And so with that scale in mind, will Mars simply be a mission space, or will there be more to it? And if you had to ask me, I'd say initially that it seems unlikely Mars will return as a full destination, but clearly there will be some gameplay in the Mars space, and additionally, we may return to the Mars bubbles for quest content. And also based on that trailer, it looks possible that Ikora potentially has some kind of a base on Mars, and it could house a destination-related vendor in Witch Queen, or perhaps be a gateway to the throne world itself. So the return of Mars is definitely an interesting one, and we can see some updated visuals there. Again, looking at the trailer, it does suggest that some amount of gameplay will take place on the space, but for the moment we can't be 100% sure how it will play a role in the expansion. So be sure to let us know how you guys think Mars will be integrated into Witch Queen in the comment section. However, clearly, in terms of mystery, Throne World itself is going to be incredibly interesting. Being a key destination for an expansion, it'll definitely be a somewhat significant space, and there are a real mix of flavors in the way that Throne World is designed, with these kind of swampy spaces where we'll also find the pyramid ship that houses the raid, and then there's Savathun's palace, which is really grand and has a much cleaner look than the kind of swamp areas. But naturally we then see other bubbles. And one which appears to be pretty important is this kind of Scorn Temple, which based on the gameplay appears to link to the weapon crafting and likely houses the specific area where crafting will take place. But of course, tying all that together, it'll be interesting to see the role that the Scorn play on the throne world and their reason for being there. And then in terms of revealed gameplay, the trailers have shown other zones, some of which look more like classic Hive temples as opposed to Savathun's palace, and other zones which have the darkness-styled architecture akin to what we see inside of the pyramids and on Europa. So it's going to be filled with secrets, and it looks like one of the core mechanics to finding those secrets is something that'll be granted to us as we progress in the expansion. There are numerous different times where Bungie have shown a new ability where the Guardian almost casts a spell to reveal new pathways, and even to gain hints from statues. There's a really spooky clip where this Hive statue points down the hall. And this will clearly be key to resolving certain mysteries in the zone, and based on what Bungie have shown, it's likely an ability granted to us by way of an upgrade, perhaps on a vendor or gear item. Then looking at things like the Shattered Realms, it's possible there could be other triggers for these in the world. Either way, this kind of true sight ability that we see the Guardians activate will certainly be a key mechanic in the zone, and Eris has even said, the mind must bend to see the truths hidden here. So it's going to be exciting to reveal those secrets and to discover precisely how we'll do that. Give us any thoughts you have below. But another mystery to unravel more of in Witch Queen will be the links to alchemy in the expansion. This is something that's been analysed a little bit by the community over the past year, and initially the Throne World armor sets have symbols linked to alchemy, but also through various trailers, Bungie have displayed equations and hidden atomic numbers associated with elements like mercury, sulfur, planets, and much more. And alchemy appears to be the thing that ties them together, yet the precise meaning here, if any, is currently unknown. So do you guys think that alchemy could be linked to things like weapon crafting? Or are there any suggestions in the lore that mean it could be a key part of the narrative? I'd definitely be curious to get any thoughts from you guys in the comments section. But another quick mention here, and there is a potential connection, but it'll be interesting to see whether Witch Queen or Year 5 give us any hints about future damage types. It's definitely a sideline worth thinking about because Joe Blackburn confirmed that Bungie do want to add another damage type to Destiny, but as they approached Witch Queen they realised they needed to take more time. So they're not doing a new damage subtype for Witch Queen, but they have one in development and we're going to see it eventually. And so that's absolutely a confirmation of a new damage type in future, and that was in response to a conversation about other darkness subclasses. But with there being an alchemy link in Witch Queen, and with us seeing new exotics and gear through the year, on top of the narrative side of adding new subclasses and things like that, it's possible that some early hints to that other damage type could drop during Year 5. Now though, let's move on and speak a little bit about reprised raids. And this is a question which for some will have an obvious answer, and Bungie devs have told us that we'll see a reprised raid during Year 5, and it will be one of the bigger remaining vaulted raids from Destiny 1. So essentially, they're saying that the reprise raid will pick from Wrath of the Machine and King's Fall, and naturally there is a narrative link between Witch Queen and Oryx the Taken King that is pretty significant, right? However, there is also the possibility that Wrath of the Machine and even Siva could be linked with the narrative of a season during Year 5, so it's a little bit open, but there are going to be a lot of shouts to Oryx in Witch Queen. We've seen statues of Oryx in the Throne World fighting Akka, and on top of this, given the palette and enemy types that we'll see in Witch Queen, from a technical point of view, it looks like King's Fall would possibly be the easier raid to actually reprise. However, for now, it remains a question, and beyond that, we can also ask the question about what kind of gameplay changes we might see to a King's Fall or Wrath of the Machine reprise. As we saw with Vault of Glass, there were a few adjustments, but Bungie managed to keep the flavour and personality of the raid very much the same as in Destiny 1. So I'm personally equally excited for any reprise raid. And just like Vault of Glass, there's a good dose of nostalgia for D1 players, as well as the extra content for everyone to enjoy. So give us your thoughts down below. And for now, the final interesting element here is a question around who the key characters will be during Year 5. In some interviews, Bungie developers referred to Kronicle, stating that we haven't seen the last of her, but also that we'll hear more from Mithrax and Saint 14 in the future. And all of these characters, as well as Crow, have the potential to play a significant role during Year 5. But I think Kronicle and the Cabal are an interesting one, because it's an alliance that we have now, yet we haven't really seen the potential of that partnership. And of course, our path to overthrowing a powerful enemy like Savathun could take us into territory where we might see Kronickle's Legion. And in connection to that, we should also remember that Bungie have confirmed that Battlegrounds will remain and be integrated into the Vanguard playlist along with Strikes. So there will undoubtedly be more involvement with Kronicle during the year, if not in Witch Queen. But the devs also teased that Callus is out there, in their words, waiting, doing something. We're not really sure, but we're excited to continue doing things with him. So perhaps this is stuff which will come later. But they also commented on the lack of involvement of Eris for a little while, and the devs said that they didn't have the space to tell a major Eris story with Season of the Lost, but they added, quote, that it doesn't mean we're not interested in telling stories with Eris, it just means that we're going to tell that story in a different release. And given that Eris has now appeared in the narrative trailers for Witch Queen, as well as speaking about the secrets in the Throne World teaser, she's certainly confirmed to have some kind of role in Witch Queen, which naturally makes sense. However, there are many other questions which we'll have until we get the chance to play through the story. And so for today, guys, that's what I wanted to speak about in the video. Of course, there are a lot of things that we don't fully understand or know about Witch Queen yet. Other really interesting things include that crafting system and the new glaive weapon type, which we will be able to craft into an exotic glaive. There are loads of juicy, exciting bits that we've yet to discover. And no doubt Bungie will give us some reveals here as well. So definitely get subscribed to the channel and I'll keep you posted with everything related to the game and new information as it drops. But let us know down below what you're most excited for in Witch Queen, as well as any secrets and mysteries that you're eager to explore. I hope you've enjoyed the conversation today though, as always, and if you have, a rating below really does help us out on the channel. But otherwise for today, thank you as always for tuning in, and I will catch you guys very soon.